This is definitely the happiest male lead. At home he has a girlfriend who meticulously prepares dinner for him, and even when he goes out he has other women who invite him to dinner and pay his phone bill for him. The main character is a playboy and he has a girlfriend who prepares his dinner for him. The main character plans to start his own business, but for various reasons he has been so poor that he has no money for food. He is a woman and she 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 is a woman. But the woman can tell at a glance that the hero must be kept by other women, otherwise he would have been starved to death. The buyer is even he pretends to rummage through his wallet. However, his ex-girlfriend unceremoniously reveals his lies. What's more, just after walking out of the restaurant the hero takes out his phone bill and tries to get his ex-girlfriend to settle the bill for him. On the other hand, the female lead has come to the male lead's house, and she often comes to help with the housework in her free time. However, she was just about to cook when the power went out in the house. Despite the lack of electricity, the heroine still made a sumptuous dinner for the hero. However, the hero, who has just finished a big meal, can't eat any more of the food. The heroine can't accept this reality and starts to complain. The man has no choice but to give in. However, at this moment the female lead was going to give the male lead a hug, but she smelled another woman's perfume. Fortunately, the courier suddenly appeared and the result was predictable. The heroine, to help the hero check out, spent all their savings. At this point, once exhausted after 3 months of hard saving, the hero's business venture has finally begun. The object of the mission is a C-rank monster. However, the male lead directly bids for the lowest price because he doesn't understand the market. However, this mission was destined to be impossible to accomplish alone, so the male lead decided to turn to his former boss for help. He was prepared to take care of the main body of the monster alone under the cover of reinforcements in order to get the bounty. What's embarrassing is that the reinforcements sent by the ex-boss turn out to be the hero's ex-girlfriend, who is also the ex-boss' daughter. However, the ex-boss knows very well that the daughter is still in love with the male lead. After everything is ready, the male lead is ready to go, while the female lead is still in bed and indignant. However, when the hero arrives at the scene, he realizes that the demon is not ordinary. He is not only able to summon his henchmen, but also has both powerful attack and defense abilities. According to the original plan, the reinforcements are responsible for dealing with the others, while the hero is responsible for defeating the demon. When the time comes, the ex-girlfriend will cover her with fire, while the hero will go around to the back and prepare for the final blow. But to his surprise, the demon is not only unharmed but also has the hero cornered. In the nick of time, the demon's arm is cut off and the heroine stands in front of the hero. But what is unexpected is that the demon actually has the ability to regenerate. Then at the same time, the demon's judgment is refreshed to a higher level of B rank. Even so, they are still weak in front of the heroine. The heroine sprinted forward and took on the demon with all her might. However, lacking magic power, she was unable to do any damage to the demon, and instead the demon seized the moment and threw her out of the room. The male lead was puzzled, why did she become so weak today? But the heroine says that it's been 3 months since she performed the ritual, and she needs the power of love to do it. And the next scene is simply too much. The ex-girlfriend is still trying to buy them some time, and here they are kissing intimately. Only a few moments later, a puff of smoke erupts. The heroine, who has finished replenishing her magic, is simply brand new. Not only has she changed into her exclusive uniform, but even her power has skyrocketed. She just flicked her hand and all the oncoming demonic dependents were turned into ashes. But as long as the demon body doesn't die, the dependents will be copied indefinitely. Although for the current heroine these dependents are like ants and can't hurt her at all. But the heroine's goal is not only the demon but also the hero's predecessor and others. When the hero wakes up, he thinks that things have been resolved smoothly, but what he sees is that 2 women are having a big fight. Because the heroine smelled the perfume of her ex, which is exactly what the hero smells like. The male lead wanted to go up and stop it, but no one even listened to what he said. Instead, the female lead turned her target on the male lead. Because he always says he's tired at home, either that or hell be tomorrow for sure, and every time there's a whole bunch of excuses to shrug it off, and he's just plain unresponsive. The heroine asks the hero to give her proof of love. The man wants to know what it means, but the woman says it's a spare key. This makes the hero very puzzled. She can go through the wall without a key, but the heroine began to pout. The key is not the same as the key. In a moment of desperation, the hero pulled out the key and threw it into the air. The woman is like a new person when she gets the key. At the same time, the hero is pretending to be ready to attack, and the heroine is in charge of clearing the obstacles and repelling the demons, and their cooperation is perfect. Only to see the male lead slowly raised his pistol ready to make up his strongest blow. The humble demon is like an ant, killed by him in an instant, finally ending everything while the heroine is trying to continue mending the demon. The next day, the hero finds out that the TV is full of news about yesterday, but the demon is being covered up by the government. Even the only information available doesn't have the suspect's face. Because part of the memory is particularly fuzzy, the heroine doesn't get any more information. Meanwhile, the main character's life is so tight that he can't even afford a cigarette. The female lead is also worried about this, and if she doesn't go to work, the money for next month's food will be a problem. The man is trying to reassure the woman that she will be paid for yesterday's work today, he says, but it's just a matter of time. But as soon as the words left his mouth, he was struck down by the heroine. The man is so upset that he's forgotten that his paychecks come in every other month. Before leaving the house, the woman tells the man not to worry, at least he will have enough bean sprouts to eat until the end of next month. While waiting for the tram, the heroine browsed through the various part-time jobs. Just as she was concentrating, her friends appeared behind her. When they learn that the heroine is struggling for money, the friends think of the injuries she has sustained. They assumed that the heroine was forced to do bad work in order to pay off her debt. So they told the heroine to call the hero, immediately stating that such bad men must be punished. However, the female lead was still speaking in favor of the male lead. Just as a few girls were hurting their brains, a lewd voice came from behind them. Only a blonde narcissistic man comes into view, who turns out to be the eldest son of the mayor, and also the president of the student council. The narcissist has a crush on the heroine, and just as he's still playing it cool, he's emptied behind him. On the other hand, the hero comes to the gym where his ex works out. He wants to take the outsourcing job from his ex-girlfriend's company, however Ayano doesn't want to pay attention to him. In her eyes, this ex-boyfriend is simply a bad man. Not only does he only tell lies to deceive people, but the way he talks makes it seem insincere. However, the male lead doesn't think so and keeps making excuses. This makes Ayano especially angry, and his current girlfriend is sure to get angry and jealous when he comes here to see her. But in the face of the hero's constant pleas, Ayano's old soft-heartedness kicked in again. After all, she still likes him. The male lead was just about to thank her properly, but then Ayano saw the picture in her cell phone, and her gentle eyes changed instantly. The male lead is also frozen in place with shock. Turns out the cell phone is exactly the group photo that the heroine stole. As expected, the enemy met in the eyes. The former did not turn back and walked out. First thing you need to do is to get your hands on the phone, and you'll be able to see what's going on. However, just on the other side, the college student who is supposed to be a good student is being monitored by secret agents, and a plan to assassinate the mayor is found in his room. The police department wants the government to stop the party tonight. However, the two deputy mayors have no power at all to decide, and their father will not change the reservation. So the men decide to take the incident and leave it to the hero's former boss. As luck would have it, since the boss is his ex-girlfriend's mom, the man is able to work part-time as the party's security officer. Just as the man is reporting back, a figure pushes him out. Turns out that he is an old acquaintance of the main character who happened to bump into him and came over to say hello. Meanwhile, inside the banquet hall, Ayano, dressed in a gown, was secretly conducting security. All of her eyes were focused on the female lead, who was also a security guard. However, the heroine, who hadn't eaten a normal meal in days, kept her eyes on the buffet cuisine. Seeing that no one is around, she pulls out a lunchbox from under her skirt. At that moment, the student president reappears behind the heroine. Turns out that the female lead's dress was chosen by the student president, and the narcissist is at it again. Meanwhile, just as the male lead is smoking a cigarette and chatting, a strange eye appears behind them. When the male lead looks back, it becomes empty behind them. The whole speech was safe and sound. The heroine and the others couldn't slack off at all. Just then, strange eyes appeared behind the mayor. Just as he was about to kill the mayor, the heroine appeared out of nowhere and blocked his movements. He drags the man back into the wall and flings him hard. Faced with the arrival of reinforcements, the man stopped fighting and planned to retreat quickly. Seeing the fleeing target, the heroine follows close behind. Ayano, however, almost tripped over her skirt, and not being able to think twice about it, she ripped it open and tossed her high heels aside. However, when faced with the fallen man, Ayano doesn't immediately shoot him, instead allowing him to escape again. It's a good thing the hero showed up just in time. Faced with a sustained attack, the man was finally backed into a corner by the crowd. While the hero is about to finish him off, a command to take him alive suddenly comes over the headset. The man doesn't have the tools to capture the demon alive, so he checks the internet for weapons. Along with the shipping cost, it just about cost the commission for this time. While he's still debating with the female lead on whether or not to buy it, the man takes advantage of the two of them again, and jumps right out of the window to escape. Being that this is not an option, the man is ready to place an order immediately, but the woman does not want to see the man strapped for cash next month. The man said his favorite food is the bean sprouts made by the heroine, that despite the objections of the heroine directly ordered. Just as the heroine was breaking down, the escaping demon happened to land smoothly. However, before he could stand still, he was directly hit by a truck. At the same time, the male lead followed right behind him. Van just happened to be delivering a delivery to the hero. When the male lead looked back, the demon on the side had already been embedded in the wall. This is the first time I've ever seen the world's most popular movie, and I've never seen it happen before. Stay the city's extensive power outages so that the already struggling to make ends meet the male lead even worse. Just when the heroine was worried about being late for school, there was a sudden knock on the door. Only to see an envelope being slipped in. It turns out to be a new commission received by the male lead. While the big shots are discussing the newly born demon, the man who turned into a demon passed away 3 years ago. The mayor's daughter deduces that the man's real identity may be a spy for the refining technology of the organ mine. Organ mine, known as a next-generation energy source, has always been something that other countries have wanted, so various spies have been sent to infiltrate the place in recent years. It was because the spies got annoyed and did something stupid that it became this demonic disaster. However, these things leave the mayor baffled. Turns out that the mayor is just in charge of the titular. Meanwhile, the hero asks his ex-girlfriend to meet him at the park. Keeping her mouth shut, the ex-girlfriend's eyes are full of joy and both cheeks instantly blush, and her eyes subconsciously avert when the hero mentions her dress. Soon the male lead gets to the point. Showed Ayano the picture of the demon. Just when Ayano was confused, the male lead took out a second picture. Hero tells Ayano that this demon was created by the same chance as the last one, and that it was all the prey he was looking for. It was less than an hour left before they received the notice of the government tender. All the information was revealed by an unknown person, someone who wanted to capitalize on their encounter and Kikyo's power. However, none of that mattered anymore. For the sake of his goal, he must obtain information about the person behind the scenes. That's why the hero wants Ayano's old mom to stay out of the bidding. However, it's not that Ayano doesn't want to help, it's just that the man owes himself too much. Scene changes and the hero eventually manages to get the bid at a super low price. However, just as the hero is getting complacent, Ayano's mom suddenly appears and whispers a few words. The result, the bid is invalidated. Turns out that according to the latest intelligence notification, they need to take on the demon alive, and the demon's heart is the orgonite core, a highly concentrated source of energy enough to supply the city with electricity for a week. This reason the government must recover it, so killing or destroying the target is forbidden. However, the hero doesn't agree, and if this has to be rebid, then he can accept all the strings attached. However, the hero is interrupted and has to accept the fact that he does not have the power to capture the demon alive on his own. Scene shifts and everyone is watching the demon closely, but it doesn't show any signs of movement. They were the first to fire a few freeze bombs, intending to freeze the target completely before immobilizing it with their spears, settling it perfectly without any danger. However, the recovery was not as simple as it seemed. The smoke from the explosion, the demon's eyes gradually turned red. Its wings spread out, it completely transformed into the shape of a butterfly. The flick of its wings, it can explode several drones. Demons breaking out of its cocoon caused the crowd in the surveillance room to be shocked. Then the boss phone suddenly rings and the caller is none other than the hero. Turns out the male lead has been hiding in the shadows and observing. He knows that this demon is not easy to deal with, and it might be a total loss, and it is impossible to do any harm to it with just ordinary weapons. For the hero is still reeling from the bidding. He hears that Ayano is in danger, he doesn't know what to do. Then the gentle heroine gently holds him in her arms. At this moment she is the only one who can understand the hero's heart. Turns out that there is a price to be paid for signing a contract with a demon, and the price for the male lead is his memories. The part that needs to be ingested this time is the memories of living with Ayano. For the hero has already made up his mind. In order to achieve his goal, no matter what he loses, he is willing to do it. For only the heroine understands that he wants to save Ayano, who is in danger. As of eating his memories in the morning, he didn't even recognize Ayano's dress, which was the dress she wore on her first date with the hero. Still in the middle of the heroine's story, the hero kisses her. While Ayano has lost her mobility. Nothing she can do about the falling rocks on her head. In the nick of time, a man saves her. Smoke cleared, a familiar figure stood in her way. Shattering the implementation, the heroine leapt up and charged straight at the demon. Abundance of magic, she was able to completely avoid all attacks even in the air. Seeing the behemoth in front of her, she would rush forward without fear. Pressed her weapon hard against the monster's chest, destroying its hard shell was the heroine's primary goal. While after a short period of amnesia, the male lead finally regained his energy. Spat the bullet out of his mouth and skillfully mounted it on the special weapon. After losing part of his memory, he still remembered the looks of his family. The only thing he can do now is to believe in this strong power. Other side of the female lead, after a sustained concentrated attack, the monster's hard shell was finally shattered by her blow, and the red core was exposed to view. And saw the moment, and fired the last shot, successfully killing the demon. The ex-girlfriend and current girlfriend meet, which puts the hero in the middle of a dilemma. Turns out that their purpose is to investigate the demon from last night, as the clues always come to a screeching halt, which makes the hero feel strange. When he sees a picture of the suspect, he knows that this is not a simple matter. Anne explains that the suspect is a salesman on the surface, but secretly he is tempting others to make a contract with the demon. It makes the man very angry for Ayano to hide her investigation from him alone when she clearly knew she was on the trail of the demon that killed her family. Then, however, the man from the Bureau of Demon Retreats receives a call that the suspect was assassinated in between their conversations, and that the murderer was a cadre from another organization, judging by the murder weapon left at the scene. May be characterized as a simple act of mafia retaliation. While Ayano, who is investigating the case on her own, is walking out of the hotel when she meets the male lead, who is also investigating the case. He's tired of his perfunctory behavior and doesn't want to waste her time with him. They part ways. Ayano huddles under a shadowy bridge, thinking back to the past. Just then the heroine appears at her side. Doesn't understand why Ayano is angry. Is it because the hero has forgotten what he once told her? The heroine described all the details. It shocked Ayano so much that she didn't understand how the heroine knew all this. The heroine told her that all the things she had said and done with the hero now existed only in her mind. Turns out that souls can only be contracted once, but memories can be divided into multiple transactions. Ayano cleared up all her thoughts, and she also understood why the hero was always suffering. On the other side, the despondent hero smokes his last cigarette. Then a flying arrow shot over quickly. Enough, it was another piece of intelligence about demons. According to the tip of the information, the hero rushed to the scene on his bicycle, and rushed straight to the room where the demon appeared. On the other side of the room, the female demon has already started to slaughter, and ordinary weapons can't hurt her at all. Good thing the hero showed up in time, but the demon doesn't seem to want to attack the hero. Dodging the hero's attack, she fled the scene. The hero is right behind him. The nimble demon doesn't want to fight. Teasing him a bit, she suddenly disappeared. On the other side, the demon appears behind Ayano. Heroine is able to block the fatal blow in the nick of time. Hero had already noticed, and that's why the heroine rushed to support her. Throwing the weapon to Ayano, they follow, but the demon is nowhere to be seen. Hero warns them through the headset to watch out for mirrors. This demon will utilize the reflection of mirrors. Before the heroine can react, the demon appears behind Ayano. Ayano catches it in time and avoids the fatal blow. Using the special weapon, the demon doesn't intend to fight, and immediately escapes through a signpost. The heroine was right behind her. She was firmly stuck in the middle. The embarrassing scene made her feel very ashamed. And from the Bureau of Demon Retreat found the heroine. Curious about why the hero was always the first to get the information every time a demon appeared. Anne didn't want to explain the source of the intelligence. Anne knew very well with the speed with which he obtained the information there is no doubt that it must be a problem within the police, and it is still the leakage of high-level personnel. Oh, the man brings up an accident from years ago. All know in their hearts that the government covered up the truth of that year, and all of his family members were killed, with the man being the only survivor. Man is the only survivor, but it turns out that his father took all the blame and was reviled for colluding with the devil. The case is apparently closed. The man knows there is more to it than meets the eye, and that the person who gave him the information may have been working for the demon who framed his father. It's to team up with the hero to find out who is behind all this. All, why not join forces with yourself who you can meet and discuss with rather than information from an unknown source. Today they arrive at the suspect's house and find out that it's right across the street from the hero's office based on the information they have received. After knocking on the door, there is no response from the house. Decide to break in. When they enter, they find that the suspect is already dead. Just a little late to the party, and it hadn't been long since the incident. Same time, they find a strange shadow on the wall. It shifts, and while Ayano is still enjoying her isolation, the hero appears in front of her eyes. It turns out that the male lead was given this commission, and the demon is targeting Ayano, which is why he was forced to come as a personal bodyguard. Who doesn't understand why the male lead is so persistent, even going so far as to reduce his lifespan and lose his memories in order to find out the truth of what happened back then. The male lead says he has no regrets. The moment Ayano can no longer suppress it. Can't help but question the male lead. Was it because she was worthless that she was mercilessly discarded? The hero doesn't answer this question directly. He tells Ayano the secret hidden in his heart. Sister may not be dead, although she only appears in dreams, but for the past 3 years she has been desperately asking for help. Then remembers that 3 years ago was when they broke up. Says that she won't stop the male lead anymore, but she won't meet him again either. Hero is still confused. Ayano suddenly covers the hero's eyes and gives him one last kiss. Then the demon appears and pounces on the couch from earlier. There's no one on the couch she destroyed. The heroine suddenly attacks, but the demon reacts quickly. The demon disappeared into the water again before she could fight a few times. When looks around carefully. Meeting up with Ayano, she heads Ayano to the ground, saying that she doesn't need her cover. The heroine can only wipe away her tears. The roof on the other side is tragically damaged by the demon. Tends to gain the upper hand through the shards of glass. While analyzing the battle situation, the heroine was pressed against her back with a knife. By a blinding bright light, the heroine, who has replenished her magic, returns to her valiant form once again. The demon is different from the usual. She not only can fight with the heroine back and forth, and even once occupied the upper hand. The strong heroine in front of her also seems to be bound to the action. A completely inscrutable way of attacking for a moment let the heroine become unusually passive. The overconsumed male lead was awakened by Ayano. The teeth in his hand, he immediately understands. In the face of Ayano's questioning, he no longer remembers what just happened. Affected Ayano understands that he has once again lost his memory. On the other side, the heroine has lost the battle. In the nick of time, the male protagonist immediately appears and also knocks the demon out. The changes, and Ayano takes the initiative to come to the hero's house as a babysitter. It's out that the heroine hasn't been home since the last mission. Hero doesn't remember making her angry. What's with the hero's doubt? Ayano pretends as if nothing has happened. Hero is still confused. She receives a strange text message. Scene changes and the heroine is curled up alone in the corner of a bridge hole. With the text message from the male lead, the female lead became thoughtful for a moment. There's no reason to be angry at all. After all, she is the one who took away his memories. It out that on a stormy day, the male lead found the sealed female lead. Pulled out the magic sword stuck in her chest with all his might. But the hero could get a good look at her. She started attacking her indiscriminately, and pressed the hero who had no way to retreat against the wall. It was only when she heard the signing of the contract that her lost sanity gradually returned. Looked at the man in front of her, she was subconsciously thoughtful. But in the heroine's sad occasion, but then saw the circle of friends of the photo. The picture turns out to be an ordinary demonic disaster, but there is someone peeping in the dark. A blonde man makes a split-second decision, and manages to avoid the fatal blow. They immediately step forward and attack the blonde man in quick succession. The man can only be passive in his defense. What made a breakthrough, the man grabbed her ankle. The who was confident in his strength was not careful, but the nun used her strength to counterattack, and not only was he kicked to the ground, but he was also mounted by the nun. And he was mounted by the nun, completely blocking the action. The nun took out the photo and was about to ask the whereabouts of the heroine. She was suddenly surrounded by the reinforcements that arrived. In a hint of desperation, the nun utilizes the man as a shield. Backing the man off, she took advantage of the gap in the chaos to quickly run towards the window and smash the glass with her body. The 10-story building, she had no fear. Quickly went to the man's car, intending to make a move from his acquaintances around him through the business cards and IDs in the car. It shifted and the man came to the designated station and sat on the designated bench. While the hero is still puzzled, a mysterious voice comes from behind him. It out that he is the mysterious person who provided the clue. At the face of the hero's tough attitude, the mysterious man is not impressed. But the man has made arrangements for their conversations to be monitored. The mysterious man asked the hero to go through the trash can. As did the hero, successfully finds a tablet with the exact events that just happened. The mysterious man told him to be careful of the Starry Sky Church. As soon as the words left his mouth, by the time the hero looked back, the mysterious man had already disappeared. Realizing that the situation is not right, the crowd immediately launched a line of investigation. See the mysterious man break through the wall. The spare camouflage covered him. Unfortunately, the hero is one step too late again. At the meeting of the retreat bureau, the male lead finds his ex-girlfriend's mom and tells her about the church. The male lead, who has lost his memory, she then realizes the price of gaining power. They are an extreme exorcism group, although fraternity, but only to the demonic creature's pain. The group of extremist exorcists who, although fraternal, are the only ones who hate demonic creatures. As quickly approaches, the nuns do infiltrate their ex-girlfriend's company. The president was about to leave work, she spotted a figure hiding in the shadows. As did the figure is the nun from the morning. The nun throws the photo into the president's hands, wanting to know the exact location of the heroine, and telling the president that he better not hide the information. However, the president doesn't want to talk to her at all. However, Ayano arrives just in time after breaking the glass. However, the nuns are quick to dodge and attack under fire. Ayano is unable to fight back against the attacks. In just a few simple blows, the nuns saw the problem. Even after knowing that she was acquainted with the hero, Ayano wasn't going to tell her the exact location of the hero. But the nun didn't care. Instead, she took out Ayano's cell phone, and then she turned to flee. But by the time Ayano goes after her, the nun has already disappeared. Meanwhile, the heroine, huddled in the corner, notices text message after text message on her cell phone. After seeing the content of the text messages, the heroine becomes thoughtful. Ayano's cell phone actually sends a selfie of the nun. On the other hand, the male lead gets a call from the president. It turns out that Ayano is using her mom's cell phone, and she tells the hero to never come home. However, the hero has already arrived at the door. Just as he pulls out his weapon and prepares to deal with it, in just the blink of an eye he is sent flying. The good thing was that he landed safely and was not seriously hurt. But when he looked back, the nun from the intelligence appeared in front of his eyes. Without waiting for the hero to react, the nun leapt down. But in close combat, the hero has no advantage at all. He has been played by the nun in the palm of his hand. In no time at all, the hero was knocked to the ground by the nun. So then, with the calmest face, the nun threw the hardest punches. However, just then the heroine suddenly appeared and she shielded the injured hero behind her. Turns out they have known each other for a long time, and the nun is also the hero's ex-girlfriend. However, the nun doesn't think she's a threat to the heroine now. The day the hero unsealed the heroine, the hero was not the only one on the scene. Because of the heroine's momentary carelessness, she was run through the body by the nun with her own weapon. Now that the two have met again, they look at each other with disdain. In a moment, the two fought hard. Just then Ayano arrives with reinforcements. Faced with a numerical disadvantage, the nun decided to stop fighting. After she left for good, the heroine immediately came to the hero's side. But no matter how much she called out, the hero never responded. The heroine couldn't help but kiss the man she loved in front of her. The man in the coma saw his sister again. The sister kept asking for help, but he could not do anything about it. The heroine's help was hard to come by, but the moment he gripped the spear, he and his sister suffered erosion at the same time, and both of them just disappeared in front of his eyes. But when he came back to his senses, he lost his memory again. The male lead, who was in a coma, kept talking in his sleep. To keep Ayano from being filled with guilt, the heroine confesses her identity as a nun. It turns out that she is the backbone of the Church of the Starry Sky and one of the top 12 exorcists, codenamed Pure Sharon. After the hero lifts his own seal, he disagrees with her. They engage in childish sports in order to escape with themselves. However, the nun is harboring evil intentions, only that the hero has already known everything. Without her knowledge, she quietly applies wind oil on her legs, thus successfully averting the crisis. However, on the other side, the nun has already infiltrated the freighter. At the same time, she locked her eyes. That's the special demonic mech. After that, she loosened the buttons and then took off her jacket. After undoing all the restraints, she stood in front of the mech and let the countless tentacles wrap around it. At the same time, the heroine received a text message. According to the content inside, she arrived at an abandoned building. While she was still confirming the authenticity of the message, she suddenly received a phone call. As expected, the caller is a nun. The heroine, on the other hand, is immediately ready to fight, but the sudden attack has left her at a loss for words, so she can only look for a wall to cover while dodging. But what she didn't expect was that this time the nun was actually fully armed, relying on the body of a demon. In the face of ordinary attacks, the heroine had no fear at all, and her wounds could be repaired instantly in the blink of an eye. But the nun was not impressed, her waist suddenly strange. Although the heroine immediately pulled away, countless tentacles instantly attacked. Without paying attention, she was injured and fell heavily to the ground. At this moment, the heroine suddenly realized. It turns out that this purple tentacle is a demonic attribute, and is completely her own nemesis. Under no circumstances the heroine could only keep running away. But she really didn't understand she had already stopped harming humans, so why did she still have to suffer such targeting? But even so, the nun did not intend to stop there. The heroine wanted to fight back, but in a trance she was hit by the nun's tentacles, which ran through her chest and suffered a serious injury. Looking at her, who was no longer able to fight, the nun pressed on still with a very smug expression on her face. At that moment, after the glare of the explosion, in a trance, the male lead appeared in front of her eyes. In the face of the arrival of the hero, the heroine, although the mouth does not say, but the arrogant expression must be in place. But now the situation cannot be delayed, he must let the heroine to retrieve the power to do so. So after a simple rejuvenation, the heroine's pupils emitted a shimmering light, once again transforming into an invincible demon. In just the blink of an eye, she severed the nun's proud armor, and her false power was no longer a threat. In the face of the nun's provocation, the heroine no longer hesitated, and attack after attack was cracked by her. Just when the nun was aiming at the hero, the heroine directly held the nun's weapon with her hand. Since she was the one who made the hero fall, she would just stay by his side. After the heroine's counterattack, the battle between her and the nun finally came to an end. After the male lead's relentless investigation, the clues to the confusion gradually become clear. Through the hero's judgment, the culprit of all this points to his adoptive father. But after hearing everything, his foster father not only didn't panic, but also became more and more calm and collected. The man is not happy, but this is already an indisputable fact. But anyone who learns the truth has already been cut down to the roots by him. Even though he used to be his adoptive father, the hero still can't forgive him, and he loudly accuses his adoptive father of the heavy crimes. But the adoptive father starts to laugh when he hears this. He still thinks that the hero is too naive. While the hero was still at a loss for words, the foster father had already transformed into a demon. Even with all the concentrated firepower, he was still unable to hurt him, and all the damage was cancelled out by the shield. But the hero does not want to use the heroine's power. Even to this point, he cannot due to the former relatives. But the situation on the battlefield is not optimistic because the demon's ability is too strong. Ayano gradually lost the battle. Just as the man was about to deliver the killing blow, the nun suddenly appeared in the nick of time, which interrupted the man's attack. The nun's attack was effective, but the demon's self-healing ability was too strong. The sudden appearance of the sister was a surprise to Ayano. Turns out that before that, as a condition for joining forces, the hero helped the nun with her prison break. At the same time, the male lead wants the female lead to take away all the memories related to her adoptive father. When the heroine hesitates, the hero kisses her forcibly again. The demon on the other side is so powerful that the two can't even defeat it with their hands. In the nick of time, the heroine blocked the fatal blow. After that, the heroine quickly stepped forward, but the two were no match for each other. When the hero woke up looking at the message in his hand, he knew he had lost his memory again. He sees the demon in front of him as his greatest enemy. And at this time, the battle between the heroine and the demon is in a stalemate. When she was already getting tired, the demon suddenly rushed over and said something shocking to her. In the next second, the hero slowly raised his gun up and aimed it at the demon rushing towards him. It turns out that long ago the father and the adoptive father were very good friends. And the male lead was still in infancy, and Ayano was a well-behaved girl. Families would always sit down together for dinner. As time passes, the boy's sister is born, but the happiness doesn't last long. Adoptive father's daughter is suddenly stricken with a terminal illness, and the desperate man spends his days in tears. Just then he saw a ray of hope. For the sake of his daughter, he had to sign a contract with the demon. Because of this, on the day of investigating the mine, the father was betrayed by the mother. One he thought was the love of his life was a demon. Mother only wanted to take away her sister who had inherited the demon blood, but the adoptive father couldn't bear to see the hero die. So he took the hero away. After they left, the hero's father pressed the detonator. As the flames continue to come, the hero becomes the only survivor protected by the power of the devil. The time of happiness is still short. In the afternoon, his wife brings him a letter. After reading the contents of the letter, the adoptive father had to accept the reality. After extracting all the memories, the female protagonist becomes silent. Man who does not know the truth continues to ask questions. Confronted with the heroine's attitude, the hero yells and wants to know the truth. At this moment, the image of the demon's death appeared again. He aims the gun at the demon, he apologizes with guilt, and desperately wants to know why. The heroine tells him everything, but the heroine keeps the truth from him. The heroine hides the most crucial point: she does not reveal the true identity of the demon. Nuns are watching her face, and they are all aware of this. However, in the face of Ayano's concern, the hero's memory has been disturbed. The heroine is filled with remorse, but she knows she must pull herself together. However, the scene changes, and she reaches out to the nun for cooperation. Meanwhile, the nun shares all the information. He connects the locations of the demonic disasters on land, and gets a huge spell. The last location where the ceremony was held, all the local villagers disappeared and the demons vanished. However, coincidentally, in the information brought by the heroine connecting the locations of demonic disasters in the city will get the same spell pattern. Series of coincidences makes the heroine a bit disbelieving. Meanwhile, on the way out of the city, Ayano questioned the mayor's daughter. He had already roughly mapped everything out. 12 years ago, the government placed this floating city away from the mine where the disaster occurred. Because of this, both the map and the photographs show the city in the middle of the ocean. While Ayano is still questioning them, they are suddenly attacked by someone who doesn't know what's going on. Turns out that they've been surrounded, and even Ayano's mom has been restrained from living her life. Just as Ayano is about to be captured, a helicopter suddenly appears. Hiro arrives just in time. The mom reminds Ayano that every second counts, and her best friend sends Ayano the information. The help of everyone, Ayano and the hero set off immediately. Meanwhile, the heroine and the nun come to a conclusion. Reason why the demon took the hero's sister is simply because she is his own daughter. Contrast, the male lead is useless. According to the nun's information, it was the last appearance 16 years ago that the demon disappeared from the scene and replaced the hero's real mother, thus hiding from the Chichu's pursuit. Big explosion caused by the hero's father made her disappear from the public eye again. Frequent demonic disasters in recent years were meant to activate the male lead's sister, who was a gate, so that she could return to the world once again. Still, in between conversations, they have arrived at the abandoned island. There's no doubt that the mines look just as they did in their memories. Soon found the hero's sister. What they didn't expect was that the hero's sister was actually alive. Just as she was about to check, the nuns behind her suddenly attacked. The nuns didn't intend to let the hero's sister go because her current state is like a time bomb. The heroine understands the seriousness of the problem. She doesn't want the hero to lose the only family he has left. However, in between their fight, the sister's body suddenly changed. A strange hand slowly extended, followed by an eerie bright light. On the other hand, the student president has lost his patience. In order to stop the demon from coming back to life, completely disregarding the people around him, he still chooses to do whatever it takes, intending to wipe out all the creatures on the island. When the smoke from the explosion cleared, the abandoned island was almost unscathed. However, all of a sudden, huge monsters burrowed out of the ground and continued to penetrate deeper and deeper into the sky until they stood over the entire island. It turned out to be the giant hand that withstood the attack just now. Heroine and the nun were also in critical condition at this time. Nun instantly recognized her as the hand of the demon Asmodeus. While the sister in the mine sits paralyzed and seems to have awakened some kind of power. Two in the air, the giant hand has launched an attack. The face of the countless branches generated by the monster. Despite the nun's sectional breakthrough, the demon caught a break and fell hard into the hand. Without waiting for the heroine to react, countless dolls appeared before their eyes. However, the heroine, who had accidentally revealed a breakthrough, was grabbed by the giant hand in the next second. The hero's mother immediately stepped forward and tightened her grip on the heroine's neck with no intention of letting go. Just in the nick of time, she was suddenly punched through the torso from behind. Turns out that it is the hero who has arrived late. Facing the demon's call, the hero didn't hesitate and followed up with several bullets to penetrate it. The demon's body dissipated. The giant hand that bound the heroine disappeared. The rescued heroine is not happy, as she has taken away the hero's memories, leaving him unable to recognize even his mother. In order to win the normal battle, the hero volunteered to let the heroine take away his last memories as well. To this day, the heroine can no longer make up her mind. She doesn't want to see the hero with all his memories gone. Suddenly, a spear pierces the heroine from behind. At the same time, the demon's giant hand gradually dissipated. The heroine tells him to retreat immediately, but the hero hesitates. Fortunately, the nuns appear in time and smoothly take the hero away and jump into the helicopter piloted by Ayano. The heroine is left where she is. After that, the giant hand emits a strong light and falls apart in the next instant. The hero's sister spreads her wings and gazes angrily at what's in front of her. The moment the heroine touched the spear, countless fragments of memories flashed by and part of her memories were glimpsed. There's no doubt that her memories are being pried into. Completely touches the heroine's reverse age. And if the other party is the hero's sister, she cannot forgive this behavior. Huge explosion caused smoke. The heroine lost all consciousness and then fell into the sea. The crowd couldn't believe what was happening. However, at the same time, the sister had already blocked the front of the helicopter. Just as she is about to attack, Ayano tries to call out, trying to wake her up. A split second, the sister looks in the direction of the hero, but the hero doesn't respond. Just as she is about to continue her attack, a hot breath suddenly descends from the sky. Turned out to be an attack ordered by the student president. That this attack worked, he couldn't let the demon have a breathing gap and followed up by controlling the satellite with another powerful hot breath. Sister's body was gradually unable to support it, and as the hot breath stopped, the sister completely lost any remaining power to resist. That in front of everyone's eyes, she quickly fell from a high altitude into the sea. Didn't have her body floating above the surface of the sea like the heroine. Scene changes and the heroine is taken to the hospital, but her heartbeat and brain waves are not detected at all, and she is now like an empty shell. Nuns tell the men that the hero's sister is not dead but sleeping at the bottom of the deep sea, and the church has designated her as an S-class demon. Be other exorcists in the future, not just themselves. Helpless hero can only spend his days in front of the bed. Deviation of his memory has made him forget his original heart, and he doesn't know why he is fighting or for whom he is fighting. Female lead's awakening seems to let the male lead see the light of day. Urges the hero to give up fighting and escape the city with himself. The hero agreed to her request. The heroine knew very well in her heart that he could not make the right choice with his disorganized memory. The hero offered all his memories. Countless fragments of memories kept pouring in, and all the veins of information connected with each other. Turned out that the separation between himself and Ayano was not a breakup in the true sense of the word, and that he and the nun were just an ordinary partnership. The heroine is a distant relative of his own, a hybrid of his ancestor, and a demon hundreds of years ago. Added weight of blood ties she chose to remember as the price and named the heroine Kikoman. Conclusion of the contract in effect: the moment his memories are taken away, the hero feels an unprecedented pain. Immediately afterward they return immediately. The spell is too cumbersome. The male lead intends to simplify the process so that he can draw on her power at any time. The heroine reads the contract. They hold the ceremony in an abandoned factory. The heroine is unreasonable and kisses the hero directly. Change the contract ceremony without authorization. Without the male lead's knowledge, she quietly changed small parts of the treaty. Most important condition for the release of the contract was also changed to the 10 fingers clasped between lovers. Continuous influx of images, the memories of the past gradually come to the forefront. The break of dawn, the secret of the contract is finally revealed to the public. The hero angrily wants to question the heroine what has been done. Next second he was surprised to find that Kikyo seemed to have lost all her memories. Turns out that she has been guarding all of the memories for the hero at the cost of her own. All the battles so far, what she used to convert into power was not the memories she took from him, but the beautiful memories she cherished immensely before meeting him. Hero resolved that he would not let the heroine's efforts be in vain. Same time, the sister sleeping at the bottom of the deep sea gradually regained self-consciousness. Accompanied by the dawn sunrise, she resurrects as a demon. To keep her away from the city, the government has deployed dozens of tanks to intercept her non-stop. The smoke cleared, she was almost unharmed. Only that, but she wasn't even going to fight back at all. Current state, the president wasn't sure if she was truly hostile to humans. Ayano didn't think so because she clearly remembered everything that happened yesterday. Firing of the rocket launcher, it was as if her sister had identified the target of her attack. Ayano, who was ready to run away, she didn't hesitate this time. Ayano's escape, the bombardment from the tanks posed no danger to her. Searching for Ayano in the air. With Ayano's full output, she still couldn't hurt her. When she ran out of bullets, her sister quietly appeared in front of Ayano. Ayano's despairing gaze, all the magic power converged in the center of his sister's hand. The hero appeared in time and took Ayano away. They got to a safe place. The hero told Ayano everything. Same time, he also got all his memories back. Ayano never wanted to kill the hero's sister anyway. The hero seems determined. Doesn't understand why the hero made such a decision. And the nun suddenly appears behind them and explains to Ayano. Turns out that the sister's goal has always been Ayano. During the 12 years she was sealed, she could only connect with the hero through dreams. Dark hell, she has been watching her beloved brother, but he is surrounded by inexplicably older women. Absorbed brother is beyond her comprehension. Result, her sister's mind is stuck at the 3-year-old stage. The thing that is happening now is coming out of her sister's jealousy. No one has taught her how to control her emotions, which has caused her to lose her judgment and turn into a child who has been given great power. In between a few conversations, the younger sister had begun to attack indiscriminately. Male lead appeared in front of her. It was as if she responded to his echo. State gradually becomes strange, and she is still ready to attack the male lead. Male lead, who has recovered his memories, is no longer confused. In everything that happened during this time, he has a responsibility that he must face, so he has to guard someone's oath no matter what. Sister's power is too strong. Even with the weapon, the hero still cannot get the advantage. Instead of a tense struggle, the hero begins to lose ground to his sister's attacks. With the help of the nuns and Ayano, the sister's power is temporarily suppressed. So the sister still hasn't regained her senses. The hero's best shot doesn't have any suppressive effect, and instead he is kicked tens of meters away from his sister, and even his only weapon is knocked away. In the nick of time, the heroine blocked her sister's attack, but without a transformation she was no match for her sister. They were all of her attacks held back, but even without looking she was completely knocked away by her sister's magic. In this moment of crisis the hero protects her under his body. A woman who has lost her memory is inevitably a bit shy and her speech has become stuttering. At this point that the hero chose to tell Kikyo that their enemy was his own sister, so he wanted to capture her alive. So he must borrow this weapon to penetrate her chest so that he can seal her without killing her. Confirming the male lead's purpose, Kikyo rushed forward to meet his sister's attack. The male lead took cover. His attack fell short, but the nun in the air seized the moment. Everyone's cooperation, the sister's magic energy finally ran out. Yet unable to continue suppressing the gate's power, the sister gradually fell into the verge of losing control. As not careful, 3 demons come out of the door and scatter in different directions. They are heading to the city. The moment the other exorcists get in the way of the demons. Quest of Ayano's mother, the nuns and Ayano go to support them while the hero and Kikyo stay behind to deal with the sister. Even though she was in a weakened state, Kikyo still didn't have the confidence to subdue her. Even in her weakened state, Kikyo is still not confident in overpowering her, as she doesn't even know who she is now. Kisses Kikyo again to give her strength. Lord Kikyo is an even match for her sister, and has a slight advantage over her in a few rounds of fighting. Kikyo's cover, the hero uses his teeth to attack. And he managed to break the horns on his sister's head. His sister lose consciousness, he slowly fell from the air. Next second, countless magic tentacles came out like a flood, quickly sweeping over everything. Appearance of an intense light Asmodeus, and her giant hands resurrected once again. The moment of her triumph, a flash of sword light flashed, and Kikyo had chopped her into pieces. Complete annihilation of Asmodei Tai. Kikyo turned his aim to the hero's sister, using the sword in his hand to seal her. At that moment the endless battle finally came to an end. Kikyo didn't let up, she picked up One-Eye's spear and quickly flew to the city center not far away. With Kikyo's assistance, the battle did not result in any casualties. Kikyo human society was no longer her home, especially since she had lost her memories. At that point, Ayano slowly walks towards Kikyo and the nuns drop their pursuit of her. When one has removed their past preconceptions, Kikyo is clear that her identity cannot be changed. At this incident, the government's surveillance of demons becomes even tighter. The younger sister, whom the hero tried his best to save, can only watch as she is sealed at the bottom of the city hall. Then the hero arrives at his family's resting place. Things didn't end the way he wanted them to. It was the best ending for him. He also stays by the hero's side. But he has lost all her memories. She doesn't know what kind of emotion to face the hero with. She still found the courage, and wanted the hero to share all his experiences with her. Was good or bad, whether their encounter was a happy one or not, she wanted to hear it from the hero himself. The lead was so touched by this that he hugged Kikyo tightly. When they were about to kiss, the next second Kikyo took the initiative to turn on the light. The moment Kikyo turns on the lights. While we were arguing and the scene was chaotic, Ayano suddenly rushed in as well. With 3 women arguing in front of him, it feels like the hero's life is not going to be as peaceful as he thought it would be. What for today's video. Their support, and watching well. See you in the next installment.